Okay, this sounds like you guys did not eat. How are we feeling? There we go. Thank you all so much and welcome back. We hope you've enjoyed the breakout sessions. You did a lot of networking. You learned new skills and now are excited to learn a little bit more from some other phenomenal women. It is time for our afternoon panel, Pathways to Success, moderated by Katie Gordon Malwani, who is a partner at McKinsey & Company, Medias and Entertainment and Marketing and Sales Practices. We had an unfortunate situation that our panelists from Netflix couldn't join us today, but we're so thankful to Ann Becker, Senior Vice President, Trade Marketing and Communications at Paramount Advertising, for joining us. We also have Carmen Hernandez, Senior Director of Community Impact at Brick. And then we have Amy Maddens, SVP Global Strategic Partnership at Nielsen. Please welcome them with a big round of applause.
Hello. How are you all? All right. Well, it's really great to be here with you today and to be here with our friends here. Really looking forward to this great discussion. We're going to start, I'll have a few questions for the panel, and then start thinking of your questions because we'll have plenty of time for you to come to the mics and tell us what's on your mind as well. So maybe we start with the first question, and why don't we just go down the line in order. Just give us a little bit about what's your current role, what do you do in your day-to-day, and what do you like about it?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm super excited to be here and to be with such esteemed folks on the panel, so thank you for doing this. And I'm super excited to talk to you all. So my day-to-day is I lead our strategic partnerships. So what does that mean? That can mean a lot of different things. But in the case of what I do, it's working with amazing organizations like the Center for Communications. It's working with the Paley Center. It's working with the ANA, who works with brands. It's working with the 4As, who works with advertising agencies. And it's really working throughout the media ecosystem to make sure that Nielsen data is being presented and used, and people understand why it's important to understand how people are consuming streaming data. And yeah, so I like to say I have the best job in the world.
Well, I have the best job. Okay. Let's get that clear. I'm Carmen Hernandez. At Brick, I manage, it's a really fancy title, right? Senior Director, Community Impact. It's a lot of pressure to be impactful every day. But, you know, my role here is to connect with people, and connecting with people leads to relationships, and then relationships lead to official partnerships. No one is signing anything until they trust you. And, you know, I think that that's one of the things that I love about my job is that it's not like this foreign thing that I have to learn. It's actually something that I've been preparing for my entire life. So, yeah, it's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you.
What about you, Ann?
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, and nice to be here with all of you. I run the B2B marketing team for Paramount Advertising, so that's rather than marketing Paramount to consumers to try to get people to watch more of our content, it's marketing the ads division to advertisers to try to get them to buy more advertising on us versus our competitors. So what does that look like? That's everything from our industry partnerships. Similarly, who are we partnering with that informs how we show up at industry events, our thought leadership, our content marketing. So that's newsletters to our partners, our Paramount Advertising LinkedIn, which if you're interested in advertising or Paramount, you should follow. We also do all the internal communications, our leadership comms to the org. So how are we telling our story to our employees so that they're our best brand ambassadors out there in the marketplace? And then we also do all the charitable giving on behalf of the org. And all newly under me is client relations and events. So that's a lot of the really fun stuff, like how are we entertaining clients at things like the Grammys, the Super Bowl, the VMAs, the Kids' Choice Awards, and things like that. So we're sort of like the stewards of the Paramount Advertising brand in the marketplace.
Great. And Ann, maybe we'll keep going with you. Can you tell us a little bit about the journey, right? Like, what did your career look like? What brought you to this? What were some of the twists and turns? What challenges did you encounter?
Yeah. So I started my career as a reporter. I worked with some of the folks sitting over in that section. It was my dream to be a reporter. So I did an entry level, a bit of a hazing program at the New York Post out of college, which was a lot of fun and somewhat scary. I covered the business of TV for a trade magazine called Broadcasting and Cable for 4 years. And then I decided I wanted to stop writing about people working in TV and go work in it myself. So I went back to school to get an MBA to help me pivot into the business. Spent 3 years in ad sales marketing at NBC Entertainment. And then I was looking for a little bit more of a mission-driven role next. So I spent 5 years starting a marketing and comms team at the nonprofit arm of the Tribeca Film World, Tribeca Film Institute. We supported documentary storytellers with grants and professional development to tell their stories. And we ran media literacy programs in New York City public schools and prisons. And then I needed to go back into the corporate world for life reasons. And so I took a role running ad sales marketing for CBS News Digital. That's the liaison between the people who are producing the content for CBS News and the people who are monetizing it. And then I'm sure we'll talk about later what attributes does it take to succeed in media. You have to be nimble. The company that I was working for, CBS, merged with a different company, Viacom, to become Paramount. And through a lot of twists and turns, and over the past 8 years, I've evolved into the role that I'm in now, which is completely different from the one that I was hired in. So that's sort of the journey.
Thank you. And Carmen, what about you? What took you to this role, and what are some of the things that helped you get there?
Yeah, I think, I begun with the challenge of naming myself an artist first, even like in college. I looked for so many alternatives that will make me a real professional. Like maybe as if I teach, maybe as if I do art therapy, maybe, right? Like I see some nudges, right? Like how can I be an artist and then also make money, have a career, and sustain that and keep my family off my back, right? So, one of the first things that I went into was teaching. And teaching taught me a lot. It taught me that it was not for me. It taught me that I'm a great facilitator of things, but I can't consistently do it on a daily basis. That's not my forte. My forte is actually to dream big, to put big pictures into action, and to collaborate with other people. I do not do well on my own. I think my journey was not straightforward. I didn't even know what I wanted. Like, I just knew that I needed a space where I can make and be an artist and just be left alone with that. That's how I started. I worked for maybe all of the museums in New York City because I found this other way that I could teach where I didn't see the same kids every day. And that was being a teaching artist and going into museums, doing a 1 hour or 2 hour tour, facilitating meaningful and thoughtful activities. It made me feel so good that, I was part of an imprint and that was a positive imprint. And after I kind of felt like I owned the museum space, there was no exhibition I couldn't talk about. There was no artist that I felt intimidated and asking them about their thoughts or why they made what they made. Once I got that confidence in me, I decided I was prepared to be an administrator. I was prepared to go into the other side and really step into the museum world. So I worked at the Bronx Museum of the Arts, was actually 2 blocks away from the neighborhood I grew up in the Bronx. And the way that I got that job was actually walking into the museum with my resume, and I did not leave until the director was free. And I spoke to him, and I really did convince him that, anyone who was gonna get a job needed to be from that neighborhood, so I was watching. I think, what led me here to Brick was then realizing that you need to learn and you need to be uncomfortable, in order to grow. Growth doesn't mean becoming an expert upon an expert of something. Like, there's only so much you can learn in a field before you get that stamp of approval from all of your colleagues and everyone else. So then it goes back to you, right? Like, what else do you want? So I'm here at BRIC for the past 3 years because I want to be uncomfortable, you know, and I begun my role at BRIC actually as the director of youth education programs, which is what I have done my entire life. And then I was like, Carmen, you're fooling yourself. You said you wanted to be uncomfortable. And then this position opened up, the Senior Director of Community Impact. And I was like, yes, ma'am. Yes, that is where you belong because you now have mastered people and you have mastered connections. And even though I'm still learning in my job, there's so many things that are new that I have never done before. It's a good uncomfortable because I know where it's going to take me. Yeah? Yep.
I love that theme of be uncomfortable. Maybe you want to build on that, Amy?
Yeah, of course. First off, I have to say Carmen's my hero. I want to be Carmen when I grow up. And also what Anne was speaking about, like just in terms of like how you might start as a reporter and then your career is going to evolve. And I mean, that's what happened with me. So I grew up in Minnesota. My dad was a plumber and my mom worked at a department store. And I would watch this TV show, which is like way over a long show. It was called Murphy Brown. And I saw this woman working in advertising in New York City. And I'm like, that's what I want to be. And my parents are like, yeah, good luck with that. So I kept at it though, because like I had this vision of what I wanted to do. And for some reason, there's this thing in Minnesota where this is going to sound really strange. And yes, I do have the accent, so I can happily do that for you. I got into golf. Yeah. Yeah, so not many people from Minnesota go into golf, but actually it is there's the most golf courses per capita by state. So I got really good at golf, and I got a golf scholarship, and I got a scholarship to a school in New York City, and like I was like, okay, so this is cool. I'm gonna do it, and then I find out this is before there was, you know, this is before the internet. So I get my VHS tape and I put it in and I see this like, wow, this college, wow. And it's in New York, but I didn't check where it was in New York. So I went to Staten Island. But I had the best view. I had the best view of Manhattan. So I'm like, I'm so close, but yet so far. So long story short, life happens, pivots happen, taking bold choices. I was like, that's it. I'm going to move with my best friend in San Diego, and I'm going to enroll in community college there. And then, yeah, that sounded great. And I'm going to do speech and debate, and yeah. So next thing I know, I got a scholarship to San Diego State University for speech and debate. Somebody from San Diego State? Wow. All right, go Aztecs. Yeah, so again, that really doesn't get me back to being in San Diego, while lovely and having a degree in communications, didn't get me close to that Murphy Brown vision I had in my head of wanting to be in New York City and working in media. So I took this internship, and my internship was with this organization that puts together networking groups throughout the United States. And I was like, well, what's networking? Turns out it's a pretty important thing for your career, just so you know. And coming to things like this, to meet people and to have conversations with people. And I feel like I'm going really long, but I promise you, this is almost done. So I'm like, okay, I want to work in media in New York, right? And like, I keep submitting my resume to everybody and like mailing it. And I really wanted to work, okay, again, dating myself. I wanted to work in magazines because it was really cool at the time. And I really wanted to work for Condé Nast. So I kept submitting my resume and getting so close. Like, I get phone screener interviews. And I had one with Condé Nast Traveler. And then I had another one with Vanity Fair. And I just never got the job. And I'm like, God, this isn't going to happen. And I was like, and then all of a sudden, one day, I'm sitting in San Diego because I used a New York City address of a friend of mine's. And I get this phone call, and it's like, hi, this is HR from Golf Digest. I'm like, am I being punked? Like, this is cool. So, so I answer the phone, and they're like, yeah, we saw your resume. We really like you. We need you to come here tomorrow for an interview. And I said, okay, cool, I'll be there. I hung up the phone. I'm like, okay, how does one get from San Diego to New York City overnight to be there by noon? I did it. I found frequent flyer tickets. I borrowed them from my dad. I transferred
the Greyhound bus, but no,
Yeah.
you did fly. Okay.
I flew. So I flew, and it was like torrential downpour rain, and my boyfriend and now husband at the time drove me from San Diego to Los Angeles to get me on this plane so I could take the overnight flight. So long story short, I change in the bathroom at JFK. This is before I learned about lounges and other things that make travel much easier. And I put my little suit on, and I take the cheapest form of transportation that I can get me to Times Square, New York City, to go and interview at Condé Nast. And this was also before the movie The Devil Wears Prada came out, so like, I'm like really dating myself now. And no, I didn't write that book. But long story short, 6 interviews later, I got the job. And it was, yay! Yeah, so that's a really long story, but I'm just trying to say, like, there was no way I could have planned that was how I was going to end up getting to New York.
I love that story, and I actually think there's a theme across all three of you of just there is no sort of straight linear path here, right? If you ask the question, how do I work in media? There's 100 different answers, right? But the one consistent thing I heard was just the ability to adapt, the ability to follow your passion, right? Like do what's interesting, what you're passionate about. There's no, set recipe. Maybe a bit, shifting a bit to sort of just some practical advice. You mentioned networking, clearly a big part of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes really hard to do, really hard to know, well, where do I start, right? Especially when you need to build the network before you can even reach out to them. So what's your advice, and would love to hear from all three of you in whatever order you want to go in. How do you get started? How do you build connections in this industry? Are there things you should be showing up to? You're showing up today, that's step one, but what else? What should they be doing?
I would say network less and make more relationships. Like, it's really...
Deeper relationships.
Go on.
I know that sounded dangerous, but it's true. Like, we can spend a lot of time just trying to get ourselves into the right rooms. And then when you're there, if you don't know what you're there for, like, you might as well not be there. I've been in a lot of spaces where I'm overwhelmed with the excellence in the room and the names and, all of the accolades and the resumes. I spend so much time Googling people in the panel, right? Like, where am I gonna match up, right? These are real things. You need to know, like, why you want to make that relationship. Because sometimes the networking can be successful for you. Maybe you want a film on Netflix and you get to be in front of this Netflix producer and, you're not prepared. Your film is actually not in a stage where you can share it. So now, if you make this relationship, you may have someone waiting for you to be ready. And now you just blew it. You basically blew it. You were not ready. So, my question is now when I go out to different events, it's not, is it relevant for me or not? You can find relevance anywhere. You can find relevance in the bodega, in the train station, if you know what you want. And I've learned a little bit of this new angle through being an entrepreneur, like to your point of like, you can talk the talk all you want, but until you do it, you're not gonna learn what it really takes. And I've been in this space of helping creators make their ideas happen, very often. And that was a challenge for me this year was like, girl, go make something. Like, remember that you're an artist. Remember that you need to be connected to the process in order to know what the real relevant challenges of 2025 are and guide everybody else through this process. And what I came up with as a journey for myself is like, I've been thinking about being a small business owner since I was like 25. And I've had the same idea since I was 25. And nothing changed about my idea, just that in this September, I launched my idea. I trademarked a name. Thank you. you know? And I've learned so much because, you know, when you say that you're going to do something, then now you have the focus of what it is that you need. Because I'm a small business owner now, that means that I need to connect with other small business owners. I want to know where the funding opportunities are. I want to know that perfect pitch that got you that contract. Let me see it. Can we swap? I know exactly what I'm looking for. So that feels really different than hoping to be lucky and hoping that someone likes you when you like shake their hand, because liking someone is just not enough, you know? You really need to be connected to what it is that you want to do. So.
Yeah, like you said, I think you've all taken a great step here by just going to this sort of thing. These are invaluable, but I would put in a plug for LinkedIn. When we were coming up in our earliest years, it didn't exist, but it's such a powerful tool that you can have access to anyone you want. And some of you are students, some of you are in your first jobs. Take advantage of that perch, because every one of us had folks who took a risk on us, and I would venture to say we all feel it's our obligation to give back. So reach out, but to your point, reach out in a thoughtful way. Like, let the person know how they can help you, rather than just like, I'd love to pick your brain, or I'd love to, have a virtual coffee with you. We also, none of us until recently were able to use AI, but it's super powerful. Like, just go on Claude or Chat or whatever and say, I want to reach out to this person. Here's what I'm sort of thinking, and let it help you craft a thoughtful outreach on LinkedIn. And, for every however many handful of LinkedIn emails you send out, someone will write you back. And I've done these panels before, and people reach out to me afterwards. I've had virtual coffees with people. I've had people to my office. Like, reach out, take the risk, and people should help and give back. These are tools we didn't have, but great tools that you all can leverage now.
Yeah,
That's totally true.
really practical.
Totally true. And the thing that I think about when it comes to like networking is, I always tell myself I'm one phone call or one email or one LinkedIn message away from somebody wanting to connect with me about what it is I want to learn about. And for me, I'm new to my role. I came up through ad sales. So moving into a role that is totally different, and I've been in it for 6 months, and I'm realizing that it's all about the power of the relationships that you have. And it's, oh, do you know this person? Do you know that person? And like researching for the panel, it was like, oh my gosh, we have so many people in common, and I think that's cool. But yeah, I loved what Anne was talking about making sure that it's thoughtful research, and Carmen by saying like, it's not necessarily the amount of research, but the quality of the networking that you're going after.
Yeah. Maybe another really practical advice question. So if you're looking at hiring an entry-level candidate or an intern, what are you looking for? What should be showing up? What should they be highlighting? What are the qualities and skills that you're looking for? You want to start, Anne?
I know you're not, this is like a much overused word that you're not supposed to use, but I am looking for passion for the industry, for my company, and for the role. I'm not necessarily looking for you to have done that job somewhere else, or even a directly analogous job. In fact, we've had training at Paramount that has told us about how teams benefit from people coming in with totally different perspectives. I'm just looking for somebody to have done their research and really be able to articulate why it is that they think they want this job, because not every job is glorious and amazing every day, but if you have the conviction, the passion for that role, and you want to be in the role, you want to be in the team, you want to be at the company, you're better able to weather the day-to-day whatever that comes with any job naturally in any industry. So I'm really just looking for genuine interest in the role and the team, and you having done your research to be able to articulate that to me. That shows me that when times get tough, as they do, you're going to be riding alongside me. But yeah, I'm definitely not looking for, you have to have this exact experience, because as I said before, like, people have taken risks on us. We've all pivoted and done different things. Just looking for somebody who is able to say why they want that job at this company on this team. I'll pass to you.
Agree with everything that you said, and also I think it's easier to get an internship than to keep it and then let it lead to that entry-level job, which is what you want from it, right? So I think walking in with the why is going to get you into the door. And once you're there, I have so many examples, maybe some of them are here today, of interns that, have been here for a second, third, fourth cycle and are now being considered for an entry-level role. And those people stand out because, yes, they're committed, they know why they're here, but they show their curiosity by problem solving things that are not their problems. That's what I want in my team. I want my team someone that, it's looking at the bird's eye view and can see that this problem over there is going to be related to what we're discussing 3 steps ahead. And if someone can do that, if someone can come into a conversation and have thought about the problem and actually come in with a solution A, solution B, and solution C for me to strategize, I think we have gold, right? That's what you call a thought partner. And I think that leadership is usually looking for thought partners. And actually when we look for a thought partner, one thing that you don't have that we have is the youth that you have. And that means the ideas, and that means what you're connected to that we're not connected to. So it's very valuable when you can own your space, be yourself, be authentic. It's not really about coming up with a really similar solution that I would have come up with. It's about sitting in your seat and coming up with something that only you would have thought about. That's your strength. That is your forte. That's what you should push for. And then that will help you be memorable. That will help you stick out, maybe not to everybody, but to where you want to be, it will help you stand out.
Why am I going last? Those are really good answers. So for me, I echo what everybody has just said up here. It really does come down to having a passion and wanting to do it, but it's also making sure it's the right skill set for you. Sometimes I've learned that I didn't want to do a job 2 weeks into it, and I forced myself to stay. And I knew it just didn't feel like the right fit. So that's why I think internships are so important, because you have the opportunity to try a million different things. And even better, some of these companies put on these rotational programs where you get to sit with finance, you get to sit with production, you get to sit with sales, you get to sit with account management, and you really get it all sounds so out of reach, right? Some of these jobs, you're reading a job description and you're just whoa. Even for internships, they're intense. My niece has one now at the White House, and it was just she's blown me away, because anyway, I think they're really important. And how do you parlay it into a job? They gave better answers.
It's funny that you brought up the White House internship thing. That's actually what I did right out of college. And people always would ask me, well, how did you get that job? You must know somebody. I literally downloaded the application online and I submitted it and somebody called me. That's what I did. I don't know. Sometimes it's just, putting one foot in front of the other one and things happen.
So true.
Right?
Yeah.
Right. I also loved the thread around showing up with a perspective. I often call this hypothesis-based interviewing. Come into an interview having done some research on their business and have a perspective, right? It doesn't have to be the world's most earth-shattering perspective, but what is your point of view? It just shows that you care, that it's not just about you and why you want the job, but also I'm thinking about what you're trying to accomplish and, trying to be a problem-solving partner. Just something simple, right? Maybe talk a little bit about women in media and why it's so important to have women leaders in media. What are your companies doing to support that and strengthen that? I think it would be great just to hear a little bit about where the industry is on that.
Yeah, so that's what kept me at Nielsen for so long. So I was there for 15 years because I had really solid, strong women leaders. And they mentored me, they helped me, they they partner with me, but they coach me, and like I couldn't say enough for the female leadership that I had at my company. Some of the other things that, like just talking about women in media, like our voices need to be heard, and I think it's more important today than ever before. We have what we call business resource groups, so like BRGs, and we have one that's for women in Nielsen, which does a lot of advocacy for women in media. We do lean in circles, like we have conversations and really try and talk about what it means to be a female leader in today's dynamic industry.
Yeah. Yep. Carmen, any thoughts on this one?
I mean, all that I can think about is that media is really like an idea without women, you know, and it's a reality with us, you know. I think that we are half of the puzzle. So if we are not in the spaces of leadership and, you know, we're not in the spaces of creating, then the world is missing out on a really important perspective. So I think as women, our job is to make sure that we expand every space that we're in, because sometimes you think that the job is already done, and you know none of it is done. Like we can't put a bow on any of the work that we need to do to represent women of color. So you know, part of my journey is always saying back to like where we begun, saying yes to places that I don't even think I may belong in, because somebody needs to see me there. I think it's important. Thank you.
Yeah, we had a female leadership program in Paramount Advertising called The Exchange, and we did this exercise that was 5 people that you want on your personal board of directors. So if you're lucky enough to work in an organization with strong female leaders, that's amazing. But there's other people that you can have in your orbit to complement that. If not, like I think I'm going to forget them all, but it was like the mentor, the challenger, the advocate, people that you can. If you're not in infrastructure with female leadership, I can speak to the power of strong female peers within an organization who have your back, advocate for you, help you problem solve. And so, yeah, just a note about filling your personal board beyond even complementing female leaders. And then beyond that, there's lots of great industry organizations, if you're not familiar with them, that give great access and mentorship and development to women in media, specifically advertising. There's ANA-See Her, there's She Runs It, there's the Female Quotient. We partner with them extensively, and I believe they all have student or entry-level programs as well, and they all have strong LinkedIn presence, so definitely check them out. Female Quotient goes way beyond advertising. You probably work with some of them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just to piggyback off that, you know, I think it's really important also to find each other in the space, like to be really intentional about that. I think sometimes we can forget that. We just go for the big, shiny opportunities. We don't do enough research about leadership, and then you get an experience that you weren't bargaining for. You know, and if your work is centered around storytelling, you know, your experience is important to you as a woman, then that should be part of your research. You know, like I love BRIC, for example, because beyond getting that first opportunity right here, when I look around me, it's either 50-50 or like there's more women than men. And to say that, and actually when I look at leadership and our executive team, there are more women than men. And when I look at who gets promoted here, women get promoted here, you know? So I just think like, you know, you don't have to work for a place that doesn't value women, right? Like you can just speak to people that work there. You can talk to them about their journey. You know, remember that you are a gift. The opportunity is not the only gift on the table. So when you look at it that way, you can position yourself as to like, who deserves to have me in the room as well? Who do I want to be a part of like my narrative, right?
Yeah. Great. Our timer has stopped here, so I don't know if we're quite at the point to transition to questions from the audience, but if anybody can give me a little bit of a nod on that, just where we are in time, that would be great. But let me ask one more question, I think, and then we will switch to student questions if we're about there. So just looking forward, what excites you about the future of the media industry? I mean, obviously this is a crazy moment with the explosion of AI, and there's so much. What are you excited about? And in particular, within that, therefore, where do you think some really exciting opportunities are for this crew as they step into this wild world?
Yeah, I would say just embrace everything AI, but remember that, like, at the end of the day, like, it's your authenticity that's going to come through. And, like, yes, you can be as well researched and know how to use all the tools and everything, but you have to communicate those ideas to other people. So remember that at the end of the day, it all comes down to communication and being able to share your ideas with other people.
To go along with the theme of AI, like, AI doesn't do anything that you don't tell it to do. So just remember what it is that you need to learn to master something like AI. It actually goes back to having not just a great idea, but like, what is the impact of you want to make? How do you want to carry it through? These are the things that we were talking about this earlier that helps you build, your AI brain, and it helps you build the tool that you want to help you. You need to be able to inspire the tools in order for them to work for you. So don't give up on new tools just because you're not getting the result right away. I think, we're all learning together. This is an important moment where, AI is like intergenerational, right? Like, it's new to people that are 11 and it's new to people that are 60. So that's a really special moment where we can actually, like, as a community, talk about, what it is that we want out of these tools. I also think it's just really exciting to think about, like, oh, I don't have to have a new thing. I just have to, like, actually know how to do it really well or do it well. There's less pressure with, like, artificial intelligence to come up with something and execute it in 2 seconds, because something can do that for you. You just need to be able to know what you want. So spend more time thinking about what you want.
I would say personally, I'm really excited to be at Paramount in this moment. We have new leadership. If you follow the entertainment headlines, you might have seen. And yeah, it's a very exciting time for the company where they're investing a lot of cash in the business, and that will beget new programming and hopefully new opportunities from there for ad dollars. But on the flip side of the coin, traditional publishers like us have so many new entrants competing for ad dollars, which means more opportunity in the space. Back, I think, when we were, if you were looking to get into television, when we were, it was, you had your 4 broadcast networks and then cable, but now it's an explosion with the creator economy and the social platforms, so many spaces competing for the same ad dollars, but also in turn, incremental opportunity to get involved in media, particularly the creator economy, I would say. So that's exciting.
Yeah, great. Okay, we're going to switch to Q&A now. So there's 2 microphones, one on that side, one on this side. Feel free to come down. You can queue up. That might be an efficient way to do this. And then we have, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes or something. So hopefully we'll get all the questions in. We'll try to be efficient. And actually, if you want to direct your question to one of our panelists in particular, please do, and that'll help us move along. Take you first, Neha.
Hi, my name is Neha Lohia. I am a final year student at CUNY. I'm a returning. I'm 43, and I'm back to school because I'm learning the new tools, virtual reality and AI. Firstly, all of you, incredible. Thank you for sharing everything that you've shared. Carmen, you're such a fireball. I just have to say that. And I have questions directed for the 2 of you. One, very quickly, I just want to appreciate what you said about AI being like the level playing field now, where grandparents and little kids can sit together and all ideas are once again welcome. So that's really beautiful insight. Thank you for giving that insight. I think you spoke about a framework where you said women can be advocates, can be somebody you lean into. What was that framework you spoke about? Can you just talk a little bit more about that framework? Because that framework is something that I think I personally would want to be part of each one of those seats at some point in my remaining career. So.
I wish I could remember all the 5. I'm sitting on my phone, so I'll look it up, and then, like, at a later question I'll say. But it was an exercise that we did with this industry program we led for our sellers to have meaningful dialogue with their advertiser partners. And it was just this exercise, like, who would you want? It was called 5 and 5. Like, who would you want? What 5 people would you want on your personal board of directors to accomplish what you want to get in the next 5 years? And it was like, mentor, I think challenger played an important role, because it was like, let me challenge you, let me, like, somebody you know that you can go to and get honest feedback from. And I'll look up the other 3. I shouldn't
Okay.
have brought it up if I didn't have it at my fingertips, but I'll bring it up.
No, but it's excellent. Thank you for sharing that, because that really gave me this perspective that, okay, because sometimes you would tend to see somebody who challenges you as like, this person is a bitch. Sorry. Like, but like, honestly, you just give that new perspective that probably that person is trying to reach excellence. By
Yeah.
challenging, it's helping open up your mind. And sometimes you can also take that role and not be goody two shoes, which again, one of you brought up, that don't be a yes person, but it's okay to challenge authority sometimes just because you have a new idea, and it's okay to challenge. So thank you for saying that.
And just talking about AI really quickly, that
Yeah.
I have found it's like having AI be the challenger is great, because it removes any discomfort that you would have working with like an actual human, just to say, like, act as, like, make your prompt be act as a whatever and challenge what I've put here, because it's less, you're less
Intimidating.
sensitive when you know it's not a human giving you that. Sorry, I cut
Right.
one of you off.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, yeah, if you want to look up those on your phone.
I'll look it
we
up.
can-
I'll look it up.
Yeah, well, okay, so the next
Thank you so
question
much.
from over here.
Sure.
Hello, beautiful people. My name is Sofia Rosario. I'm a recent grad at the University of Albany, where I studied women's gender sexuality studies with a minor in sociology, and I'm a recent graduate student at LAM College studying business of fashion. So first off, I wanted to just shout out Carmen for Afro-Latina representation. I really love that. Thank you so much. And then also, so how do I maintain relationships when I don't cross paths with the person often or really ever? I understand that in a digital world, it's very easy to cultivate these relationships, but how do I make them feel genuine and not just transactional?
Great.
I mean, I'll take a try at that, and if anybody wants to add on. But I think, going back to, I heard one of my colleagues say this, that people can basically recognize a transaction. I can smell it a mile away. I can even see it by looking at you. Like, I can tell when someone has been waiting to speak to me because this is a real connection and they need something out of me, or if it's just fluff. And so, I would say, like, again, like, you're gonna cultivate that important relationship in your career when you really start zeroing in into who it is that you need. And, is it the mentor? Is it the challenger? Is it the supporter? Is it the person that speaks about you when you're not in the room at the table that is important? Does that person have your pitch deck? Do they even know what to say that your dream is? So I often spend time, like, preparing my supporters. When I do something new, I have at least 3 people in my life that push for me all of the time, and they need to know what I'm up to. So when I make a move and I'm like, oh my God, girl, I launched a small business we've been talking about. Here's my pitch deck, because wherever this girl is, she's gonna talk about me. So it's not about volume. It's not about having 1,000 followers. It's about having 3 that will go to bat for you. So forget about the volume, forget about the fluff. Weave out people that take up your time and find the people that can actually give you results. And I'm sure that you can bring value to what they're doing. Think about, what can I do for you? What can I do for your project? A lot of people don't ask that, and I think as leaders, like, people get a little bit tired of that exchange too. It's really refreshing when someone comes to you and says, I've been following this project that you've been doing. I know exactly how I can help. Can I? I think that's a really different approach than, hey, I'm a student and I want to look for this opportunity. Can you help me? That's really, really different. And I think that the panelists here mentioned it and said, hey, like, spend some time, looking at people's interests and projects and what matters.
Yeah. Julia?
Hi, I'm Julia. I am a recent grad of the NYU Event Management Master's Program. And for the last year, I've been navigating what I call career adolescence, where I'm, like, kind of past the entry level point, but I'm, like, definitely not at, like, SVP level, and trying to balance being appreciative for my current role and, like, the experience that I'm gaining, and also being itchy and wanting to level up. So I was wondering if you could kind of talk about that kind of midpoint in your career and kind of how you moved past that.
Yeah, that super resonates with me because I was in a very similar role for a really long time, and I wanted to grow, but it was like, well, how am I gonna? I need, we need to keep the lights on and everything. So I started doing +1s. So like I mentioned golf, but you can have other, like if you like other sports or event organizations. They have like young professionals. You can get involved in their programmings for that. Like I joined a board of it's called the LPGA Amateurs New York City Golf, right? And so it's a bunch of women that there's 13,000 women across the U.S. that participate in this, and it allowed me. I wanted to learn more about finance, and so I offered to be like a junior on the committee under finance so that I could learn that skill set. But I definitely know what it's like when you kind of feel like a little stuck, but you're like, I'm ready to grow, but then you're like, well, but where? So just do a +1 to something outside of work even.
Yeah, cool. Thank you.
Great advice.
Hi, my name is Genesis. I'm currently a senior at NYU studying media culture and communication, and I want to go into public relations, which my question leads into public speaking, and I imagine I'm going to have lots of public speaking within my career. You all speak so beautifully and with confidence, so I would just love to hear from you guys, like some practices you guys have taken into account with developing your public speaking.
I will say that do real things. Nothing is going to prepare you for speaking opportunities other than like speaking. You can go into the mirror and do it perfectly, and you can bomb in front of an audience. And the reason for that is because one thing is not like the other. You need an audience, you need the experience, you need to know what it feels like. My hands still sweat, like my hands are still sweating right now while I'm sitting here. So there's some things about public speaking that are just a part of you and the way that you internalize the public and interaction. But I think that what makes all of us like not run away from the stage is being prepared with our personal stories. And so taking the context of this panel away, just readiness. Readiness is the only thing that you can rely on when your nerves hit, when you're running late, if your shoe, all of a sudden lost its heel. You know what's gonna fix it? This. That's gonna fix it. It doesn't matter what's going on, you can fix it inside. So I think be prepared and don't cheat yourself. A lot of us think, I'm spending way too much time on this and that's good enough. And at the end of the day, it's for you. If an opportunity is for you, if it's meant to represent who you are and if it means something to you, go over the hours that you need to just so that you can feel ready. It's a long way.
Thank you.
One thing I have been surprised at as I've gone through my career is how many meetings are actually role played in advance. I thought, wow, these people are amazing. That sounds great. And I've started to understand through mentors who are like, let me tell you how I get ready. It was all scripted. They role played it with somebody else. There were notes. There was all these things preparation. People are actually really preparing more. It's not that it just happens so easily for anybody. So don't be intimidated when you see it. They prepped. There's a way to do it.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Adriana Cisneros. I'm a graduate of NYU. I've been graduated for 2 years. I've been working mostly as a freelance producer, but now I'm transferring into just doing writing and directing. And my question is actually for Anne. Where do you see the creator space being in the next 2 to 5 years in terms of film and television? Because now everybody's saying just post it on TikTok. But is the traditional space going to come back, or is it just going to turn into more of an Instagram Reels deal?
Oh, I hope the traditional space comes back for the sake of my job. I think they're blending. I think they're all blending together. We had Mr. Beast, who started as however many years ago. We had him introduce the VMA. He kicked off our VMAs this year through this Red Bull partnership, where he left the VMA at his house, and a Red Bull helicopter came and picked him up, and then he whatever. Let's start the show. But I think it's all blending together. Like things that start on social are ending up in traditional media. Things that you can't be on traditional media without having your sort of social lane. And then, people who start as creators on creator-led platforms then launch bigger. So I think they can coexist, but I think it's like fertile ground for new talent in the traditional space, and some don't even need that. Some don't even need, I don't think it's like looked at as getting on television is like the end-all be-all anymore. I mean, YouTube is like a mass eyeballs. We spend time in the traditional media space studying how does YouTube, like talk about preparation, like we're doing competitive analysis on how these social platforms go to market, because we view them as level competitors to us. So I think one is not inferior to the other. Creator space isn't going away, but the worlds may continue to blend together.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah. I also have the 5 things.
Oh yeah,
if
tell
you
us the
want
5.
them. So it's a mentor, a trusted counselor or guide, a sponsor, someone who advocates for you and actively supports you, an advocate, someone who speaks up and supports you. I have like longer bullets because there's often confusion between advocate and sponsor, but I don't want to take up the rest of the time. A challenger, someone who boldly questions or defies the status quo, encourages critical thinking, pushes boundaries, challenges assumptions, and a friend, someone with whom you share strong liking, trust, and affection, someone who can provide emotional support, companionship, and a sense of belonging.
It's a great list.
Really helpful.
Personal
actually.
board of 5 and 5, like 5 people on your personal board of directors to help you achieve what you want in 5 years, which seems like a really long time. It could be 5 months.
With each of them playing different roles.
Playing different.
Right.
Hi, I'm Eris, and I'm currently a freelance editor. I just quit my full-time job, so I've been doing this for a month now. My question is for all of you. Early in your career, were there any moments where you made a mistake and it was close to detrimental to your career? And what did you do to overcome that mistake? Or if you had multiple moments like that, like what did you do to overcome something like that?
I mess up every day.
Yeah.
You want me to talk about yesterday? I think actually that it's a really big, for me, I'm going to tell you just my perspective. My colleagues may disagree, but it's a misperception that one thing is just going to blow your career over, unless, there's some things I'm not going to go into, right? But most of us, will make mistakes, and they're not going to be career ending. What makes a career ending mistake is actually what you do after you make a mistake. If you make a mistake and you want to hide it, if you make a mistake and you don't look for help, if you make a mistake and you leave it alone, you don't want to fix it. You're not invested into how you're going to do it better the next time. You haven't pinpointed exactly where you went wrong. You just know that it flopped. That is career ending. I mess up at Brick at least once a day, and those moments feel like you're describing them. It feels like, oh my God, am I stupid? Why didn't I think of that? What am I going to do now? And after I have those 30 seconds of panic, the thing that I do is do my swivel chair. Who is around me? Who is the expert that I need that is going to help me, that's going to give me the feedback, that's going to challenge me, or is going to support me? Where's my friend that I can cry and then go back to my desk? Like, you need all of those things to help you step out of the mistake and into a growth space. And mistakes are amazing. Like when you can actually own that you messed up, and you can say that, and you can say exactly how you messed up and have a plan for the future, you're actually going to be really impressive. The people who are not impressive are folks that pretend like they don't mess up, or like their mess ups are not big enough to impact anyone else. That's my perception on mistakes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's great advice.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for giving us all this beautiful information. So my name is Nia Eberhard, and just a little insight, I love music. It's a passion of mine. I love the singing part of it, the songwriting part, but I also love the business part of it. And so my sophomore year of college, with the help of my mom, because she used to work in the music industry in the 90s, I started my own record label. And I was able to get distribution through Warner Records, which was huge, and I helped out other artists, and I was able to do the contracts and all this, that, and the third. And now that I'm graduated college, I'm still doing it, built up my social media, millions of views. It's just been a really nice ride. But I do want to enter into a different space, hopefully a higher space. You know, I'm like 23, what should I do now? Let's go do something big. But it was really amazing, and when you mentioned that you went back to school to get your MBA, so I'm planning on going to law school in August, and I don't want to be a lawyer, but I think having the degree will help me learn to think more critically. I'll be able to read contracts more easily and really understand the business and why it happens. So, Anne, do you think that having the MBA before, you know, you were doing reporting, you're like, I want to really transition, and you went back to school, was that like the best thing that you could have done, or would you have wanted to stay more in the business and then later on went to grad school?
I think this is an excellent question. Business school was 2 years of the best years of my life, and I, with all due respect to my husband and kids, this was pre that, these are also wonderful years, but that was an amazing experience. Who aren't here, so.
I understand what you mean.
It was like a wonderful time. Great, like lifelong friends, and I think you go to business school, like as much for what you learn there as the network. And so, like very good friends. Of course, I was in entertainment. I wanted to stay in entertainment. I joined the entertainment club, the marketing club. Like these are true friends now. Did I need it? No. At the time that I went back to business school, I wanted to be in development. Like I wanted to be the person on the other side of the desk when people were pitching whatever the next TV show was. And I did a series of informational interviews. I used my perch as a reporter to ask people in these types of roles, like how would I transition? It was like you would really have to start over in an administrative role, and I just wasn't ready to do that. I didn't want to do that, so I thought, let me go back to school and I'll enter in at a higher perch. You can't like script out where your career will go because so much is happenstance and luck and right thing at the right time. So was it a prudent decision that did I need it? Definitely not. And I see people at my level above me here, there, and that, the other within my company and elsewhere that don't have the MBA that are doing amazing. I didn't need it, but it opened up a whole new world of contacts for me, an incredible 2 years of my life. And, I think it is something of an insurance policy if I were to switch to this or that or the other. And I think it means something on a resume, but I definitely do not think you need it. But yeah, it was a life-changing experience for me, so don't think you can go wrong going back to school if you can do that.
Great, thank you.
It was a luxury for me. It was a gift.
I love it,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Right over here.
Hello. Hi, my name is Desiree Monet. Hello, Queens. Anne, I have a question for you. So I want to make sure I understand what exactly it is, your job, what you do, because it sounds interesting. So I think you said that you're basically getting ad dollars, which is what your network needs in order to survive. And what are the qualities that you have to have when you're in these rooms getting that, getting the money, basically?
Yeah.
What do you need?
So my role would be considered sales support. So I'm not a salesperson out there in the room so much with clients. I'm sort of like the wind beneath their wings, helping them tell the story in the marketplace such that when they go into the room to make the sell, the client is sort of aware of what the brand is, maybe has gotten one of our newsletters, maybe we've entertained them in an event, maybe they've seen one of our executives in a thought leadership role on a stage at an industry event, maybe they've seen some paid media that we've done. So I guess I'm not directly selling, but qualities, it's all about storytelling, really. It's like, can you tell, B2B marketing is as much changing hearts and minds. It's just a bit of a longer lead time sometimes than B2C marketing. So I think primarily it's good storytelling. Like, what is this brand? What does it stand for? What's our value prop? And what are the things that we do better than everyone else? And how can I distill that into like 2 or 3 salient points and use that as my North Star, whether it's putting somebody up on a stage, doing something in a newsletter, even weaving it into a pure hospitality play event, like entertaining somebody on a ski trip or at the Grammys, as I mentioned, like how am I pulling that story through at all these touch points? And I do the internal enablement, learning and development that I mentioned. That's like training salespeople. So how are we? It's like we call it end-to-end enablement. Like how are we figuring out what the story is, training the salespeople up on it so that they're like they're out in the marketplace, frontline sellers. They're our best brand ambassadors. Like I said, sort of complementing the work that we're trying to do to add wind to their sails through all the tactics that I ran through. Storytelling, I guess, is a short answer.
Thank you.
And to add on to that with the storytelling part of it, it comes a lot down to research. So you're talking about like how different platforms are unique in their own way, and that's where media research really comes in to like help tell those stories around ad sales specifically.
For sure.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Eliana. I recently graduated from Syracuse in May. I studied TV and film production, and I minored in marketing and advertising. First of all, thank you all for being here. You're all amazing. I guess something you guys all mentioned when you were speaking about your career trajectories was like how you didn't start just like, in one lane. You kind of like pivoted to like different areas. And for me, I guess like this whole post-grad journey has been like kind of like figuring out what exactly it is I want. I do have a huge passion for writing, TV, film, and producing. But then I also recently discovered I have a passion in media and like, creative marketing, creative producing. So I guess my question is someone who has like multiple interests and, kind of wants to go into different things, how do you advise I start out, or even just in general for everyone here who has that, question on their mind, like how do you figure out, which lane to really focus on?
Who wants to take this one?
But it doesn't have to be like the perfect lane. You can just pick a lane, start in that lane. If that lane is cool, stay. If that lane is different, shift. Just kind of, it's not so like rigid, I guess, at least for my career.
Yeah, I agree. And I would say also like build community of like-minded people, because sometimes our friends make choices that we wish we made. And like that's enough motivation sometimes just to, get you to make that decision. Like you can see someone, following their dream, and you can see where it takes them. You can ask questions about the journey. You can, so I would say that being in community, just learning, like, this is a little bit of a push for Brick, but Brick is a great place for that. We're a place that you can come and learn, but in the learning, you're in a room with 15 or 12 people that are there for completely different reasons than you are. Somehow you all want to learn editing. 12 different projects, but you all want to learn a particular skill. And I think that when you're in the room with people that are doing things like you, then the next steps become more apparent. Even if you didn't have the answers kind of reveal themselves to you in the process of being where you should be with the people that you should be. So, to your point, like it's not so rigid. It's not a methodology. It's more about making sure that you're making a decision about your future. Like, do something. Doesn't need to be perfect. You don't need to be ready. Just do it. Do a thing. Yeah.
You're never gonna feel like you have it. Like, take heart in the fact that even all of us, it never ends wondering like, am I in the right lane, or this thing over here looks great, or that. Just try something, because you're gonna have more junctures throughout your career to evaluate and see, maybe I do this or maybe I do that, or opportunities may naturally open up, but they're very valid questions, because as you advance through your career, you continue to have them.
Yeah.
You only get one career. There's a lot of great stuff out there.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Next.
Hello, everyone. I'm Tiasha. I recently graduated with Media Studies from Queens College, the City University of New York, and I did a minor in advertising. It was amazing to hear all your journeys. It was very inspiring as we're starting to, find entry-level positions. My question for you, all of you, is one skill that you learned later on your career that you wish you had known about it sooner, so that we can build for it. Any specific skill or anything in general that you wish you had known sooner, then you would have built better on it.
I think it's a bit of a cliche, but I think you want to think it's never too early to start thinking through your personal brand. And I say that as you want to show up in the workplace such that people say what you want them to say about you when you're not in the room. And that reputation, you start building that from day one on your first job. And I am seeing that now. We have new leadership. Is a tiny industry, even though it feels big. People start asking questions. They're doing talent assessment. Hey, what do you think of this person? What do you think of this person? And like, you want to start as early as possible building your personal brand so that, yeah, people say what you want them to say about you when you're not in the room. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure we've all had people in our careers where you work with them 10 years. Like, I got a job because when I was on maternity leave with my younger son, I had lunch with my old boss from a different job. I was telling her what I was looking for. She ran into this guy that we both worked with 10 years prior in the street. It was the only time this happened to me. And he said, do you know anybody who would want this job at CBS News? And she was like, I know just the right person. But the way that I had shown up working with him in the first place, oh, I love her. You know, like, it's never too early to start building your personal brand. And these things, your reputation kind of follows you.
I love that. Yeah. I think sometimes it feels like, well, if I just put my head down and do a good job, that's going to win the day. But I think it's a really important point that it's not just that. It's a bit of how you market yourself, how you put yourself out there. It's really important.
I'll add one thing too, that whatever you feel that you're the worst at, that's the thing that you should learn. It's gonna come up in life. It's gonna, because the leader, if you think about being an executive, if you think about being a CEO, if you think about sitting in any seat that requires a senior director role, all of those things have in common that you're going to be accountable for budgeting. Yep. You're going to be accountable for making decisions. You're going to be accountable for managing people and supervision. And these are all things that people take very lightly. You know, it's just kind of like part of the fluff of having a big position. But there are the things that can really, really make or break you. So another young lady asked about what, mistakes. Those are mistakes that can really break you when you don't know how to manage the people around you or be a great collaborator. And fortunately, you don't have to spend thousands of dollars to learn that. Fortunately, what you can do is put yourself in spaces that, contribute to you having experience and lift in knowledge so that you're able to confidently step into those places and people recognize that. We can tell when you're comfortable or uncomfortable, when you're learning comfortably. So, yeah, lean into that, I would say, too.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hey, guys. My name is Trinity. Just want to say that I love this environment so much. Thank you, everyone. So I wanted to ask this question at the last panel, but right now I'm working on a project where I am working with a casting group for hair and makeup, and I'm trying to get them partnership money through creating our own content because they have like 40,000 followers, so I'm just like trying to work on that. I'm very much interested in partnerships, but I'm new to it. So I wanted to know what it looked like for you guys when you were starting to work in partnerships and what it looks like now. Yeah.
I'm at the side of partnerships where I'm like evaluating folks, like who should we partner with at Brick. Mm-hmm. So I'm the person that receives the pitch decks. I'm the person that looks at it with a team and says, we should move forward with this, we shouldn't move forward with that. And the advice that I would give to people, that are thinking of ideas is like, put your idea to paper, make the pitch deck, send it out. You have to be part of the process to be in the game. And so many people don't apply to something, to your point about your internship in the White House, because it's so intimidating, because it's such a great opportunity that I'm not going to be the one to get it, and that's the wrong mentality. Somebody has to get it. And sometimes there's someone like me looking for you on the other side. Like, where are you? Where's the person that, needs that first opportunity? Where's the person that this experience is not just another experience, but really propels this person's career? Don't apply to anything just for the sake of it. Look for something that is really going to make a difference for you. And I will say this, too. I've gotten a lot of opportunities that were first a no for me, and people just take no's and they move on with their life. I don't. You know, like I want to know why. If you can tell me why, you're like, you know, and if when you look for a little bit more, sometimes you can also be better prepared for the next thing that comes up. Even if you can't change someone's mind at the moment, you can internalize what those learnings are. You know?
Thank you.
Go get it. Do it.
Thank you.
Hello. Hi, my name is Hawa. Thank you guys so much for coming out. I really appreciate all your time. I know it's a lot of questions, so I'm gonna try to hurry up. I am majoring in TV and film studies and a minor in marketing at Lehman College. I'm a junior.
Bronx.
Yes, Bronx. But my question is, for you guys to get to your positions today, on your journey, when you faced moments of giving up, burnout, feeling like you shouldn't do what you want to do, how did you take yourself out of that?
Oh, that's a really good question.
Thank you.
I went through that fairly recently, too. For me, it was recognizing that the values didn't align with my values. And like how the culture was really impacting me negatively and was taking too much that I wasn't willing to give anymore. So it was a conscious effort to say, you know, thanks, but this is not the right space for me. And like, just, it's hard, right? Because you're walking away from something, and you're like, I don't know what's gonna be next, but giddy up.
All right, I think we're nearing the end. Any other final reflections, last bits of advice before we close this out?
Those are
I
awesome.
promised myself I will say this, and I didn't find the question to say it at, so
let's
I'll
hear
just
it.
say it.
Yep.
All right. I think one of the best ways to cheat life is to like live as many lives as you can. You know, like there's just so much pressure into like staying in this box, sis, right? You know, there's just so much pressure every day just to add on to your narrative, right, and to your personal brand, and to be that person that you said you were going to be. And to your point, you could just be like, and today I am also, and tomorrow I'm also going to be. So just, you know, don't stop dreaming. Don't stop adding to your personal brand. Don't stop adding to your identity. You are multifaceted. You are brilliant in so many ways that people don't know. Make sure that you touch every gift that you have and that you do something with it. Don't go to bed just hoping. Like, why hope when you can do, right? Live all of the lives. Do it.
Any other final thoughts from the two of you, or you've said it all?
Can't top that. I think that was a great drop.
Okay, well, great. Well, thank you all. This is really a privilege. And I think Camilla is going to come back up to lead us on to our next thing. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. Let's give them another big, big round of applause. Thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. Thank you.